Ladies and gentlemen, and now we're joined over the phone by Dr. Mohamed Batran, the Human Capital and Development Expert. Dr. Batran, good evening.
Good evening to you and to all your viewers.
Dr. Batran, now Egypt has progressed, climbed up 19 positions in the UN Human Development Index for the year 2021-2022, now reached 97th position globally. What is the significance of reaching such a position? Does it change the way, or not the way the world or the international community is looking at the human development aspect in Egypt, but also in terms of investment? Does it affect it directly or indirectly? What does it do?
It does a great deal. It's an international, non-biased organization that looks into so many factors of human rights, factors pertaining to health, pertaining to governance, pertaining to education, housing, infrastructure, laws and regulations for investments. So it really covers up a lot of indices and KPIs that project not only on the overview of human development in Egypt, but also on the lives of the Egyptian people. Among also one of the things and the NDCs looked at is the social network that is there, the social network that has proved itself during the Corona and COVID pandemic, and the social factors and indications that the government might have in case other crises happen. And we are living now in a time of world crisis, whether be it natural, particularly in Europe and in our neighboring Africa, and also we've got political and war crises in Europe as well. And all of this, the Egyptian social structure and social networks that are put there by the current government and enhanced more recently as well, also supports the people, supports the stability. And this leads us to another entity, which is a counter-terrorism and stability and security of the country itself. So yes, it does reflect on investment, but it first reflects on the lives of the Egyptian people. And from different aspects, all the way, starting from stability, all the way to a decent life, to a social network, education, health, and then amounting to investment laws and encouragement of dual investments, and we've seen many examples of that more recently.
Well, what about the national project for the development of the Egyptian family, which, as you've mentioned, targets all the different sectors, be it education and health? Now, the kind of awareness that the Egyptian society now is having in terms of self-development, how can these projects help not just to depend on the government to be the main push and locomotive for human development, but also the self-awareness of the Egyptian citizen to self-develop themselves?
I will answer this in two sections. The first of which, I will give you an example that says a lot. The latest UK Prime Minister, in her inauguration speech, she mentioned the important measures that the UK government is going to take related, particularly to combat inflation and to combat the economic crisis through which Britain is suffering, and the global economic crisis. And as such, she mentioned social measures being taken to alleviate the pressure on the UK citizens. So, for an Egyptian person and for an Egyptian economist, and looking and hearing this speech, I was really affected and into thinking we in Egypt went through such programs the last few years and we have created successes. Not only the Hayat Karima, the Decent Life Initiative, being the largest social project in the world has ever seen, touching the lives of around 50 million people in our Egyptian territory, but also we have success projects in health relating to screening 30 million women for breast cancer, screening 11.5 million children for growth and nutrition defects or nutritional needs and growth defects if there are any in schools. Of course, combating and eradicating hepatitis C, which was one of the main health threats to the Egyptian people. We not only and also we combated the hepatitis C via shorter methods of treatment, shorter periods of treatment, and a more economical treatment as well. And we managed to eradicate that totally. So these projects, these health projects helped greatly into giving out the message and the signal that Egypt is extremely vigilant into taking care of its people, their health, and the infrastructure needed for them to live a life in decency, in health, well-educated, and these are they all amount reaching to the same road.
Yes. Well, Dr. Batran, now whenever we talk about development in any sector, be it agricultural, energy, information communication technology, what have you, there's always the topic of vocational training, which is a major part in terms of human development and the development of workers and employees. Now, what is being done in Egypt to really help and push forward the vocational training aspects for all sectors?
I'll tell you what, Egypt now is interested in very important sectors that are important for its growth and for the numbers that we are seeing. For example, we are seeing the soon-to-be inaugurated project in Daba, and as stipulated by the Egyptian government, the number of employees needed to work in Daba should mostly be Egyptian, amounting to above 85% of the employees. So as such, Egypt is taking the measures to train its workforce, its engineers, its young researchers to really fit into that project and fit into the criteria that Egypt has created for the project, into having more Egyptian people. Egypt is very interested into the digital transformation era, and as such, Egypt is pushing. Although on a personal level, I think a lot is needed there still to be done. I don't believe that we have enough projects on an information technology high-end level, really specialized coding techniques, cybersecurity techniques. Still, we are not where we should be there, but still the government is pushing towards that route as well. Health. Egypt has figured out that we are missing some doctors, and we are losing doctors to the international market that needs doctors as well. And Egyptian doctors are known to be well educated. So they even work in Germany without another examination or a board before they're practicing in Germany, which is a high-standard European country.
Yes.
So the training is important. It's part of the educational enhancement plan that the government has, and I believe that there is great room. There are fantastic steps relating to being also the electric cars and AI.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence, experts in AI for future applications of AI. So there's a lot there.
Dr. Batran, the human capital and development expert, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Dr. Rushdy, you've mentioned that over 60% of the Egyptian population are youth and women. And do you feel that there's also been a big movement over the past few years of the increase in the number of small and medium enterprises, the startups, the entrepreneurships, all of these things? Do you feel that with the ease that an Egyptian youth or an Egyptian woman or anyone really who can start up their own business and start up their own small and medium projects and enterprises, it really pushes forward Egypt in terms of the human development aspect, which would also spill over the economic health and the economic activity of the Egyptian economy?
Actually, Egypt is working to empower youth and women in both sectors, actually, the private sector and the governmental sector. I would like to highlight one of the most important things on the governmental sector before going to the SMEs, just in a quick way. Actually, the importance, the part which is the most important thing, the importance of training and capacity building as an essential component of the Egyptian state plan to build people. Actually, the government invested in a lot of ministry, pointing to the Master of Government Business Administration, which graduated from this program about 1,100 among the employees of various ministries. Like the 55% of them are women. And they have a lot of grants and scholarship from great institutions like University of Chicago, Minnesota University, in addition to a lot of initiatives, pointing a number of initiatives and programs for youth segments, such as an ambassador, Youth for Development Initiative, Green Minds, initiative of students of schools, explaining the framework of raising efficiency of institutions, and the state also launched the Egypt Award Government Excellence, stressing that it's not just a word, but it's a journey of excellence. And at the end of those things, Egypt is trying to focus on a private sector by supporting the SMEs, which is the crucial part. Actually, if you would like to have a solid and strong economy, ABC investment, you have to diversify your portfolio. How we can say that? If you have, for example, to simplify as much as I can to our audience, if you have two companies, great companies, one of that are building the country, your country, one of them are defaulted, accordingly what will happen? You will lose like 50% of your economy. But if you have a diversified companies, small and medium enterprises, you will have a strong and solid economy. If one of them defaulted, we have a lot of economies. For that reason, the Central Bank of Egypt have actually created a lot of initiatives to finance SMEs with, as far as I recall, interest rate 5 to 8% based on projects. And this will be our weapon to have a solid economy in the coming future, if God will.
Well, that's basically not putting all eggs in one basket. Ladies and gentlemen, the Egyptian government is investing about 51% of its public investment in the development of human capital here in Egypt. As Dr. Rushdy has pointed out, it is the most important capital the country has, its own people, and nothing short of more than 100 million of them. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my guest, Dr. Mohamed Rushdy, the economic and banking expert. Dr. Rushdy, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, and thanks for our audience.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.